And
All
here
right,
we
welcome
go.
back,
This is
everyone.
the matchup
Round two.
this is the matchup I'm looking forward to. So we've got the
Yeah,
currently
this-
number one ranked player in the world, the guy Jacob Pearson,
my boy, another
He's
Sushi
up
Night
against-
representative.
and he's up against local legend Nick Spence. So Nick's amazing guy, down from Dunedin ways, repping it for the home team.
My stream has just paused. I don't know if you've got the same problem here. It says,
Yeah, so I'm guessing that will come back in a second. We'll just message to get that sorted out.
oh, there we
Here
go.
we go. We're back.
Yeah. So yeah, like Kieren said, Nick is the local legend. Mr. Matt, you can see he's representing, I believe that's the Aria playmat, the Guardian home ground. Very beautiful mat. We've got a Bravo
Yeah,
versus
that's good.
Katsu matchup.
that
No
would be- I was just gonna say,
Snapdragon
on that-
scales, unfortunately.
Ooh, no snappies. Yeah, I was going to say for the Aria playmats, I mean, I don't have any confirmation on this, but I've heard that sort of rumored that they're very, very rare, sort of one.
Oh,
But anyway, sorry, we'll jump into the gameplay.
Yeah,
Seems like
so
we're starting up.
Jacob's got the cross strap, but he doesn't have any arms, so don't have to worry about the Goliath gauntlet. But honestly, I think I'd rather see the Goliath gauntlet than that cross strap. Just being able to cheat out one action attack every game. It's huge.
Yeah, and we see he's got 2 pieces of iron rot, so armor I feel is very good against.
All right,
Ninja.
so no mucking around, Jacob. Just full on dominate a couple times so you can keep pitching to refill your hand. Just swing for 6.
And we'll see if we can get that life totals just fixed at some point, because I think it's still holding over from the old game.
Yeah, I think they'll fix it when they go to take damage. So Nick Spence,
Yeah,
the foil crazy
it's
brew,
a crazy brew pitch.
madman.
Ooh, so we
Very
see the
strong
nimblism,
turn.
nimble strike there. But just to explain to some people in case they're wondering how that works. So when you play the nimblism, it's an action, so it immediately goes to the graveyard. So you can sort of immediately use it with that nimble strike. This is coming
Yeah,
in for
the thing
5.
here is playing the action would close that chain. It isn't relevant at all because there's no mask of momentum. But
Yeah, I think Nick might have flashed us. I think he has another nimble strike in the arsenal there. Potentially. Although one thing I was wondering about is banishing the nimblism there, because it gave him go again and +1, but he couldn't utilize the go again.
yeah,
Here we
I
see,
think-
here it comes out. So I'm just going to mention Jacob counting out Nick Spence's deck here. This is usually quite important when you're playing sort of potentially fatigue versus fatigue deck, which Ninja can be at times, just to make sure that you're not sort of playing your game and you find out 10 turns in that they're running 43 cards and and you're going to struggle to actually get there.
yeah. Jacob might have also been wanting to try and remember like how many turns until he draws that crazy brew, because a card that doesn't block is very, very scary to see late game. Jacob could plan out his big push when he thinks that Nick might have that crazy brew in hand. Essentially,
That's actually
turning
really
his
good. Yeah, that. Sorry, I'm just going to say it's a really good point. Okay, so we see the strike come out now. Is
yeah.
that
So this
not?
is just this is just some vanilla damage here. Jacob has to be wary of stuff like a razor here, which I thought I saw that coming. Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine here.
I think that works out fine. I mean, a red razor. That's I think Jacob will be pretty happy to see that hit the graveyard.
Yeah,
but I can just trade it for
especially
a blow.
because you just swing back for 6 the next turn. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate
I
that
did
the
wonder-
life hasn't been corrected, but
Yeah, I did wonder why the. Oh, there we see a drone as well. Whoa, did that go to the graveyard?
I'm
That was a
lucky.
drone, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm 100% that was a drone.
Oh no, because
That's on
this
both
point it's-
players.
is, and at
I
this point,
recognise those triggers.
see, maybe has he noticed the drone in the graveyard?
Was it not a drone? Maybe it was a Scour the Battlescape, but I'm almost certain that was a drone.
Yeah, maybe we'll see at some point. We could have that wrong. It may have been a Scar. It would just be unfortunate if it was a drone. Okay, so we see, here we go. So the cross trap and the slog is in. Just the barraging Brawn. I believe that's a red. So if that's a red Slogism as well, that's coming in for.
Did Jacob flash the Bravo to show us that it's intimidated, or?
I believe so, yes, because he pushed
that's going to be a lot of damage. So barraging Brawnhide also gets +1 if it's not defended by 2 or more non-equipment cards to barraging beat down without the intimidate.
And that's where that cross trap just came through perfectly.
Yeah.
Enough resources to get everything off. Yeah, and I think we see Jacob playing this, I feel he made that play. He's not afraid to sort of use the cross trap early in order to sort of maintain the tempo. I feel he knows here that because he's so far ahead on life now, what he can choose to do is just play that Entrants for 6 game and just wait for another one of his big turns.
So we've got a blue head jab here that's just been blocked with the legs, and he's just throwing out another potion. So he's playing a Crazy Brew and the E-Pot. Yeah, I like getting rid of that E-Pot as soon as you can.
Yep. No, that makes sense. They're zero cost. They turn on Kodachis and everything.
Yeah, you just don't want to see them late game because they don't have any defensive power.
Absolutely, that's a good point.
We got our first comment from the live chat. Callum Giddens, who is that?
I think that's it's some nobody. I wouldn't worry about him.
Nah, I don't know. Never heard of the bloke.
I think it seems kind of familiar. I think he got lucky against some real good player in the top 8 at the calling and managed to get past them.
Did he?
Yeah. And then I think he got binned off by you at some point. So yeah.
Oh yeah, he tried to get me with that Heron's Flight. Fucking horrible card. Of course, I had the double sigils, boy. Let's go.
Right, so just that game here. I'm just trying to see what color that debilitate is.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell colors, but
we might see if we can sort that out in a future round. But I think that the big thing
I don't think there's much they can do, in all honesty.
That's fair enough. Now, that's kind of forcing out a block from...
What is the debilitate crush? I've forgotten. Is that the next attack loses? Yeah. So that must is it attack or attack action?
That's attack, so it would burn on the Kodachis as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's not too bad.
So we see
I don't really like how a couple of turns ago Nick hits the sigil. I've seen him just play it outright, just to get back some life. But
here we see quite a cool turn.
Yeah, but he has no card in hand, so that Surging Strike really isn't threatening much on it.
Then we see you get hit by the Staunch. Yeah, so it's a Katsu and Sealed. It's quite a cool deck because you can have all this chip Kodachi damage with things like Razor Reflex, and you can block up pretty well, but Jacob's kind of consistently keeping the pressure on here. We saw it start with that big hard and cross trap turn into the Slogism's barrage.
Big snowball.
Because I think he realizes, if he gets that off, I think he's kind of looking at this matchup saying, I don't want this to turn into me hitting with Anathos and Nick hitting with Kodachis, because eventually we're just trying to grind out that way the Kodachis can actually get there, because they're really annoying being 1+1 damage. So I think by doing it this way, he's just saying to Nick, you have to block with 1 to 2 cards every turn. I'm going to maintain just enough of a life lead that when I need to get off the big dominated attack lethal, I have access to it.
Yeah. Jacob's fine here, just taking these Kodachis to the face.
So we see a flick flag there. I think he might have an unmovable in hand because we see another potion.
Another potion? Is this guy playing Ninja or the Alchemist? What's going on?
Yeah, I suppose they work for Kodachis, they work for Katsu.
Yeah, but I just don't agree with playing too many cards that
It's certainly very much a trade-off. I believe I was going to say we see another razor reflex.
Yeah,
okay,
guys, so Nick's definitely got the ninja pull here. You know, you got these razors, you got all these zero cost cards that block for free. Some of them block for zero.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I believe he set an unmovable there. So we see a sloggers him into cartilage.
That is an unmovable. That's very good here.
Because I was wondering why he used the flick flack last turn. The reason for that is because defense reaction is so critical against defending against Bravo's.
Did he flip from the arsenal and just wanted to clear it out?
He played the flick flack from hand, but I think that was because he had the unmovable as backup. So I believe this is a non-dominated cartilage crush. I think
it's hard to tell the actual power of it, but yeah, this is looking good.
Yeah, that's not ideal. He really would have wanted to keep a card to keep
he had to do that to stay alive. I'm pretty sure. But now Jacob can, if he gets an attack here, he most likely can just dominate and win. He only has to push through 2 damage.
Yeah, so I think Jacob's going to be feeling pretty comfortable with the spot he's in.
We may see Nick pop that hood to try draw out a defense react.
Yep, that's a really good. Or the sigil, which we saw him pitch earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting, because he might have that. What was that first potion he?
I don't think he's back to the energy potion just yet. But yeah, that will be coming up, and I think okay. So here we.
This is overpitching coming for 6. Yeah,
it's quite good. Can represent a pummel here as well. Because of the life totals, that's now hard for Nick to play around.
Oh, was it hammer for 4?
Hammer for 4.
That is unfortunate. That could be that. This is the window Nick needs.
Absolutely, this is a huge window for Nick here. So he's got 3 cards in hand. We know he's playing cards like Razor Reflex as well. Jacob's going to be quite a red leg tap. Okay.
Leg tap. Let's go, baby. But I mean, this is fine with Jacob. He could. He's got the react, but I was going to say he could just block with 1 card in the helmet. But he's got the other leg tap. Jacob choosing to leak the 1 damage there because Nick doesn't have a card in hand to utilize Katsu ability there. So he's just saved that Iron Rot for a really important block. And
so now we see
this one is for 6. This one's for 6. There's no pummel trickery here. You just got to double block that. Swing with some Kadachis. Block. Yep.
See, now we're into that spot where the Kadachis. I think Jacob's still going to feel pretty safe. Like you identified, he's got that Iron helm.
Oh, there's a crazy, bro.
Okay, you're right. Actually, it's coming back up.
That means that he should be drawing the potion of strength soon as well, because
I think
next turn,
importantly.
So just the head jab here for free. Just block for 1 card. Yeah, that's fine.
I think we're seeing the power of these Kadachis here because Jacob's trying to get through with this hammer. Oh, here we go.
Oh, this could be it. This could be LC, right? Yeah. Well played. No. Oh, it's a potion of strength.
Is that a raging for 7?
Yeah.
So if he, I'm just wondering because if he,
it was at 2, right?
Yeah, but he had a hope merchant set up.
Yeah.
If he used the hope merchant for a 3 block there, he survives. I would have thought.
Because you would have put back that that crazy bro, right? Or even just a 2 blocker.
Yeah, you put back all 3 cards.
You could sigil to 5. Yeah.
If you block that, you might go down to 1 and potentially put some pressure. I mean, I don't know that I'm like it may not have been a red sigil as well. It could have been yellow for all we know.
Okay.
I thought I saw it was red, but I can't confidently say that. Nick's a very good player, so honestly, I'm more inclined to think that I just got the color wrong.
He bid me off on the last round of Swiss, where I was 100% sure that it was my winning, and I played that game, and he just binned me off. I thought he had knocked me out of top cut, but the fab gods are on my side that day.
Yeah, so I think we got to see an example of a really high level game there. So I think we saw Jacob identify the game plan he had to go for, that he needed to sort of push the tempo and get Friday headed off on ice, so he didn't get stuck in a spot where he was trading out Anathos swings for 6 into Kadachi's. Because if you get stuck doing that, it's like they block with 2 cards, take 0 damage, and then you Kadachi in for 2. And that sort of, with Razor Reflex, go again, it becomes a bit of an issue.
So he definitely had those razors on deck, but he's playing the free potions. You gotta have a lot of confidence to be able to play them. I mean, like I'm fine with the Crazy Brew and the E-Pot. The potion of strength, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I feel that it may have been in there. I think he just needed enough zero cost
blues. Yeah.
So I think he would have preferred 1 or 2 of those to be something like maybe just a Whelming Gust Wave or a Blue Rising Knee. But I think because he had the 3 red Razor Reflexes, he was just thinking like, this might punish me a little bit, but it's going to punish me more not having enough things. Yeah, we see someone in the commentary, they're saying Nick didn't break his hood. That's a good point, Calvin, because we actually identified that too. We're wondering if he didn't have any defense reacts left in the deck, or if he didn't have, if that was, say, a yellow sigil, then he actually just had no outs. If it was a red sigil,
he must have known that he didn't have any defense reacts to kind of filter through, maybe.
Yeah, it just depends, because if that was a red sigil, like we're saying, it would have made sense to crack the hood. Then if you pick up a 3 block, you block the Raging for 7, you sigil a Soul up to 5 life, you block the Raging for 7, go down to 1, and then you've got 2 cards in hand to potentially do something. But again, it's not sort of not 100% sure what color that sigil was. But it's just an interesting thing to point out for maybe players watching that, don't forget your equipment. So I've definitely done that before playing with Hope Merchant's Hood. Like, think about it. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll use this at some point, and then you just kind of forget to use it the whole game. But maybe that's one we can ask Nick Spence later at some point. Maybe if he even jumps on to join us, we can just ask for his thoughts on that game.
Interrogate him.
Yeah. Why didn't you crack the hood? Tell us.
Hooded man. Yeah, quite a fast-paced game. You see, we've still got 15 minutes left of the timer in between rounds.
Yeah, I think we saw both Jacob and Nick playing very quickly there. Yeah, the one thing that I was saying on turn 1 there when Nick chose to. Oh, interesting. So we got Rohan Kano. Sorry, I'll come back to that. But we got Rohan Kano in the comments saying should have cracked the hood on the turn.
Who's that?
It's whole hand unmovable.
Did he top 8 at the calling? Wow. Bro, you didn't top 8, bro.
The best was the So I think that's another good point he was saying for the Hope Merchant's Hood. I think he pitched 2 cards that are movable actually. I believe on that turn, so he could have potentially cracked the hood to search for a blue there.
Just get the blue, yeah.
The one actually,
I don't know what other scenario you do want to save the hood for. So just to get the blue for the unmovable does seem pretty, worthwhile because there's not really many other spots where you want to dig.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can potentially get Nick's thoughts on this because I can feel like he might have been wanting to save it on that turn. I feel like he used 2 cards because I think he blocked with 2 cards, and then I think he blocked with 1 card, then pitched 2 cards to play the unmovable, something along those lines. So maybe he was thinking that he was prepared to give up his turn anyway and wanted to save the hood for when he drew those potions later. That could be, or if you need to for a sigil. So I can understand it. The other one play I was a little curious about was the turn 1 play where Nick was sort of choosing to push damage by banishing the Nimblest into the Nimble Strike. The reason I wasn't totally sure about that one is just because he flashed us. He had the follow-up Nimble Strike on his next turn as well. So because he wasn't able to utilize that go again, I was wondering if he potentially considered saving the Nimblism for turn 2. At least, sorry, saving the banishing the Nimblism for turn 2.
Yeah, because he arsenaled the second Nimble Strike, right? So it would have been fine to just Nimble Strike just for vanilla damage and then get that Nimblism go again turn the next turn.
Yeah. So I did wonder about that one. I mean, one thing is he might have been doing it as a bluff to like perhaps try strip as many cards out, like hoping that Jacob would perhaps maybe block with 2 cards on that, because then he could threaten Katsu ability to discard and search something up. So that's definitely that's certainly one consideration that might have been running through his mind there. Yeah, because I did initially when I saw that, I was kind of thinking, oh no, like why didn't he save it for turn 2? But you know, a lot of players it's not just about sort of the cards. You know, we can see all the cards on the screen, but obviously both players can't see their own ones.
We're the game masters.
Yeah. So it's
easy for us to judge. We're like the bloke from Art of War overlooking everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Picking plays up.
Yeah, it's easy.
The whole battlefield on lock.
They're like, oh, why didn't he predict he had the pummel? What an idiot! You know.
What a noob. Now, another point I want to bring up is maybe he doesn't want to hope merchant on the defensive side and draw multiple potions.
Yeah, that's
more than one card that blocks for 0.
It's very true when you have 2 cards in the deck that do block for 0. That is a good point. Yeah, I think, like we were saying, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things that go into deciding when to use the Hope Merchant's Hood. I find it to be one of the most interesting pieces of equipment in Welcome to Wraith as a whole, because I feel often in sealed or draft, like you see it and you're just like, and Hope Merchant's Hood, I guess I just put that in my deck. You know, it's no Iron Rot Helm or class equipment.
Yeah. There were people who were playing it in a Classic Constructed over the Iron Rot Helm. I couldn't believe it.
Shout out Luke Fitcher, but
Gary Lynch, Gazza and the lads. The Hope Merchant.
Yeah, no, we love you, Gary. We love you, Luke, as well.
The classic Welcome to Wraith Constructed play was you dig for the shunts or the reckless swing, right? For the win.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can dig for that, or you can dig for defense reactions and things. Like, it's one of those cards I was going to say, it feels like it's not doing a whole lot, but then it can get very scary when you know, people are, when you see someone crack the Hope Merchant's Hood, either, you know, on offense or defense, you kind of think, oh no, like they're up to something.
I just want to ask, how different do you think that game would have been if Nick Spence was able to have a Snapdragon Scalers for you to use?
Yeah, I'm not like
it didn't really seem like there weren't really too many attacks that you would want to give go again anyway. I didn't see much snatches or.
I think one of the. It's good to have access to as a consistent threat, but it seemed like his deck was more built around sort of Katsu Kadachi chip. So like you know, he just wants to block out some of the big attacks and then just throwing out multiple small attacks a turn, backed up with Razor Reflex and backed up with a few defense reactions on the defensive side. I think Snapdragon Scalers, it's always nice to have a ninja, like even just to throw out, you know, on a Nimble Strike, for example, one that doesn't have go again, or, you know, Wounding Blow, if it's Super S Pounding Gale, basically the Scar for Scar. There's so many good attacks you can throw it out on, and it sits there as a threat in your opponent's mind. I ultimately don't think it would have largely changed that particular game. I just didn't see a huge window. To me, one of the huge tempo points in that game was actually 2 ones I saw was turn 2 for Nick Spence when he went for the Razor Reflex and it got sort of countered effectively by the sink below. I think that opened up space for Jacob to put a bit of pressure on for another turn or 2, then set up that big Slogism to the hardened cross trap Slogism, and dominate on the Barraging Brawnhide. You know, that huge attack that just opened up that 8-point lead in the life totals.
Yeah. I mean, well played by both parties.